There was a big, lovely breakthrough in my conscious relationship I am currently in, and it was really beautiful. And literally, I jumped timelines. We totally went from this one path that was not going to go good, and I just jumped right over to where everything was working out. Literally, if I hadn't been the one witnessing it, I wouldn't have believed it. And it works in real time, not
Yes.
later, not
Right.
afterward. I mean, immediately. And I just chose another way to respond. And in that
Right.
response, everything shifted. I'm going to be bold enough to say our whole relationship changed. That science and what you just presented is some of the most powerful stuff I've ever heard. And I will make sure to have you write that out for me for our September couples workshop, because that is so powerful for people to understand. Again, that's why in ceremony, I love working with people. Obviously, we do groups, but also with the couples, because avoidance is almost never about the partner. It's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to, like I said, fall in love with yourself again, fall in love with your partner, and to be really ever present. Much interest, and then it just seems like maybe just because it's summertime.
I think
Nobody wants
summertime
to.
has a lot to do with it. Welcome, everybody. It's Dr. Mark Waller with Rochelle Lane, and welcome to Lions and Unicorns Live and Conscious Relationships. So, what's been new in the conscious relationship front for you this week, Rochelle?
New.
Bingo!
Well, I don't know that I want to air my dirty laundry out here today, but there was personally, there was a big, lovely breakthrough in my conscious relationship I am currently in, and it was really beautiful because I really applied the line in the unicorn model, and I got
Wow.
really present to what was going on in the unicorn, doing the unicorn thing, caught myself from being the lion and just got really present. And literally, and I don't know if you've ever heard me use this terminology, but I jumped timelines. We totally went from this one path that was not going to go good, and I just jumped right over to where everything was working out. And if
Wow.
it hadn't happened to me, literally, if I hadn't been the one witnessing it, I wouldn't have believed it.
Good. So you see that it works. Great.
And it works in real time, not
Yes.
later, not
Right.
afterward. I mean, immediately his tone changed, and we just went right into a beautiful conversation. And I was like, is this really happening? I was kind of pinching myself in the moment. So it was very practical.
Be a little more specific. You don't have to share personal things, but what was it? I mean, you could see he was going on like down a defensive path, right? And then what
Yes.
did you do exactly?
I started to react. So I came in back in as the lion of, like,
Right.
defending myself, but then also wanting to get my point across. So I was getting excited. And when I started to elevate myself, I saw a little bit of fear in his reaction, and I immediately stopped, and I just took a breath, and I was just very aware. Okay, right now this is your opportunity. And there was just enough of a gap in the
Yes.
present moment.
Yes.
It was just enough that I caught myself and I became present to where I was, what was going on. And I just chose another way to respond. And in that
Right.
response, everything shifted. And I'm going to
Perfect.
I'm going to be bold enough to say our whole relationship changed.
Perfect. Sarajic, I think I'm saying that's right, says there is no spoon like in the Matrix. That's true. We're all living in a matrix. And
Exactly.
the brain is a virtual reality headset that's been programmed.
Yes.
And we're here to get rid of that programming. But I want to go, based on what you said, I'm going to go to this. This is the dance of the lion and the unicorn, what she's referring to. And if you have questions or comments about this, please put them in the comments. We love to include you in the discussion. But what she's saying here, can you see my cursor by any chance? You probably can't.
No, we can't see the cursor. Oh, hold
Okay,
on.
on the left-hand
No,
side,
I
you'll see
can't
the
see it.
unicorn. And what she's describing is the unicorn was getting defensive and, probably being avoidant or whatever. And here's what happened. She started into the lion pattern, which is on the right, and immediately realized she was going there, and she shifted out of that, and it changed everything. And boy,
Yeah.
if there was one example of what we're trying to do on this channel, you just showed it.
It
All
is.
right.
And it was such a beautiful thing to being present to your own self and breaking out of the program.
So Shirajik, please share how you got enlightened today at breakfast with my mom. Um, okay, she's saying, is that a female? Siraj? I wonder if it is. I believe it is, but I'm not sure. She says, um, oh, she says she can't share it. That's fine. All right, we're just glad you're with us. And
Yes.
so today's topic, which is interesting because I think you've just already touched on it, is avoidant partners.
Hmm.
And what I find really interesting about this is if you go back to this, you can see that the unicorn is avoidant.
Hmm.
And I had there was a couple I was working with, and the man informed me this week that he's been diagnosed as dismissive avoidant. And what's interesting about that is that his lion partner, tried to solve the avoidant problem by screaming at him almost uncontrollably for a long period of time, and you can see that probably is not going to work. So we almost always do the opposite thing that we should do
Yes.
in order to solve
Yes.
the problem. She says she was
Yes.
Course of Miracles and heard for the first time three main lines in my mind. Nothing unreal exists. Yes, that is the Course of Miracles, which is very powerful. Quite a story.
Yeah.
So, getting back to avoidance, when this person told me they were dismissive avoidance, dismissive avoidant, I thought, okay, well that's great, that's wonderful. Now you know what's defined your behavior, but the key is still the thoughts.
Mm. Yes.
Avoidant people are having thoughts that tell them to avoid. I mean, it's really simple. So if you work on your thoughts, you can overcome your avoidant tendencies. It's just, and if you're a partner to an avoidant, working on your thoughts will help you take responsibility and stop labeling the other person as avoidant because that doesn't help
Yes.
anything.
Exactly. Okay, so that's what I want to touch on. Just knowing this is just like the beginning. Because
Uh-huh.
the moment your partner pulls away, let's say as a lion, which I am, pulls away and you start to feel that void in the relationship, immediately your mind goes into, okay, I'm not being chosen, I'm not lovable,
Right.
I'm not a priority anymore. But what you really have to understand is if you work on your thoughts, and if you're like, I'm loved, I'm chosen, I'm a priority, I'm always the best, then it doesn't have to be about you. It can
Right.
just simply be, oh, my partner is simply going into the program or they're doing, but
Right.
I'm going to sit here and stay present.
Yes.
And that is the best thing you can do. If you can stay present, I feel like you're tuned in to something like your pineal gland can open up. That's what I felt like. I felt like something of me opened up, awakened, and I was able just to see so clearly in that
Okay.
moment. And it was because I just became present. I just became present. And the ever present moment is where we are literally tapped into our God consciousness, that higher super consciousness that they talk about.
So
So,
what
yeah.
I want to know from you though is what has changed over the last period of time in your life that allowed you to see that and take that step? What happened inside of you that got you off autopilot so you could do what you just described?
So there's a couple things. One, just making a commitment that
Okay,
this is how I want to show up in this relationship. I want to show up with more presence, and more love. I did think something called that somebody gave me called a 72-hour radical love challenge. And so for 72 hours straight, I just loved on myself. And as thoughts came along, I just said, "Nah, that's not the truth of who I am." And I just kept telling myself how much I love myself. And so that
uh-huh,
little voice was getting smaller and smaller and didn't really have much weight. And I think the last thing is just really believing the best about him and trusting that he really, does love me and that everyone is just doing their best. And I just have been almost like an affirmation, repeating that to myself the last little while and just saying that everything is working out. Everyone's doing the best they can. And just going back to how much I love myself.
great,
And then, of course, all these weekly talks that we do bring it back to the forefront of my mind. Like every time we have a discussion or we start to do these and I rewatch the videos, it reminds me, okay, what is the purpose of this relationship? To expand my consciousness, to wake
right,
up. It's not about him, I'm trying to get love, right? And
right,
then what we do is when I'm trying to get love from someone, well, that's not the purpose of the relationship.
right.
That's not.
Or
And so
get
I've
anything
been,
from somebody.
yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think those couple things in the last couple weeks I've really been working on were very helpful,
Great.
in stopping the cycle, like just abruptly stopping it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Great. That's the biggest testimony I've heard about couples in a long time.
Yeah.
Siraj is continuing to tell me how the Course in Miracles woke them up. I'm not going to share all those, but Siraj, if you have any comments that are germane to our discussion about relationships as a result of your enlightenment experience, feel free to post them. And if you're listening, have a question or comment, obviously we want everybody to share today. So, what what can you contribute as a result of what you experienced in terms of the avoidant personality? Is there any, did you
Hmm.
have any insight? Because your partner's a unicorn, unicorns are avoidant.
Yeah.
And what, you know, did
I
you see
just saw it
something
as a
you did?
program. I just
Okay.
was looking at it simply, it wasn't personal. It's like
Yes.
he wasn't, there was nothing, I can feel it, and the actual physical thing of wanting to leave our
Right.
discussion that we were having, I saw that and I was like, "Oh," I was at first I got triggered because of like seeing this movement, but then I just realized this isn't personal. This
Right.
literally isn't personal because in that moment when I shifted and became present, he immediately followed suit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess what do you think goes underneath their behavior, Mark? So, according to the Lion, the Unicorn, what's really going on when it does when it physically move or mentally they check out? What happens to
Right.
them?
So there's one of two things. Either they're trying to
Mhm,
avoid conflict
mhm.
or they are resisting pressure and control. And this is all perceived. So
Mm,
I just got off a session with somebody who's, a unicorn who's, having problems being kind of outside the marriage in a certain way and doesn't share things and shuts down. And it's all from his past. It's all about his relationship with his mother.
mhm.
And so that's why it's not personal, because he's unconsciously acting out this childhood stuff and he's
Yeah,
responding to the imposition of his mother on his partner and
yeah.
acting as if she is his mother. And so he's on the run from her emotionally. And he's basically saying, screw you, you can't control me. So he, you know, goes out and does his own thing.
Oh, wow. That
It's real
makes
simple.
so much sense. So it's not like they're cold or they're indifferent. They're just like
Mhm.
literally they go into a program, and what I heard you describe is like he's overwhelmed.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because from the
see,
outside it looks like they don't care.
so this particular person was saying he does two things. He acts out sexually, outside the marriage, and he lies. Okay, well, the sexual acting out for a unicorn is a response to perceived pressure and control.
Ah.
And it's a way of saying, to hell with you, you can't control me. So they assert their
Mm,
freedom. The lying is all about staying out of trouble and trying to avoid conflict.
got
And
it.
it's universally the same. Now, if
Mm.
you're a lion, it's a whole different ballgame. But if you're a unicorn, in 30 years, every unicorn I've seen is doing exactly the same thing for the same reason, either
Wow.
acting out and resisting pressure and control or trying to avoid conflict.
Well, okay, and I like how you said perceived pressure and
That's
control
that's
because
correct.
there may not actually be real pressure and control.
Oftentimes
You
there
know,
isn't.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. It's just
here's the
that. It's that. Go ahead.
well, here's the thing, Rochelle. You could be a cardboard character propped up in the corner, and he would still feel like he's being pressured and controlled. That's just the way it is. And the fact that you suddenly realized that it wasn't personal indicates that you could see what he was doing inside.
Yes, it's so true. That's funny. A cardboard box.
I said a cardboard cutout, not a box.
Well, a cardboard cutout. Same thing.
So we'll put some hair and some lips on it and put labeled it Rochelle. But no,
That's awesome.
the mere fact that we are in relationship with somebody else brings this
Yeah,
stuff out.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's
right.
so true. So, what do you say is happening on the other side? So, a lot of people, watching are going to recognize themselves as the one that's trying to reach for the person that's pulling away
Right.
because that's my mode of immediately going, wait, don't leave, or wait, don't check out.
Well, what's happening on the
So,
other side is a perceived rejection from a parent or caregiver that's being
okay.
projected onto the partner. So what you saw, you wanted immediately to feel rejected,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
then what you saw him actually doing revealed to you that it wasn't rejection at all. It wasn't
No,
personal.
it wasn't. It wasn't personal.
Right. Yeah, so there
Like,
you go.
really. That's amazing. So, realistically, waking up to the fact that these thoughts that we have going on in our head,
Right.
firstly, the ones that are talking about ourselves, then the ones that are assuming what the other person is saying, is once we can completely understand that those thoughts are not real, they are not us,
That's
then
correct.
we can wake up and choose again.
That's right. And you did it in the moment. It's a fraction of a second that you need to
Yes.
reconsider your assumption and realize that your monkey brain is trying to tell you something that's not actually happening.
Exactly. So, like you mentioned, it's a childhood survival strategy,
That's right.
right? And we learned it by one of our parents or caregivers. They pulled away from us, right? Or we perceived it. Again, the perception is that it may not have actually happened that way, but our perception is that
Right.
they didn't love us, we didn't feel safe. And then as we get into relationships as we get older, then we look at our partner or our intimate partner, and we project one of our parents or caregivers onto that
That's
person.
right. That's
Okay,
right.
see that makes all the sense in the world, right? I love that.
And a lot of these people go through horrendous childhoods.
Yeah,
And in our culture, we seem to think that we're not going to be controlled by that. Well, that's just not true. I
yeah,
mean, most of the brain, we talk a lot about the limbic system on this channel, and it's fight or flight, anger,
yeah,
fear, It's where that emotional programming takes place. What people don't understand, even that know about the limbic system has the ability to hijack the entire cortex.
Yeah.
And so, in the minute we get triggered, the entire cortex joins with the limbic system to carry out the goal. And if the goal is to struggle against rejection, our whole being now starts to struggle against rejection. We're in serious trouble here.
Wow. Mark, that is so powerful. I've never heard you say it quite like that.
Yeah,
It hijacks your whole system.
right.
Wow.
So I discovered this a number of years ago when I was writing a book. I was researching. I think it was Mastering Thought. I was researching the scholarly papers of Walter Freeman, who was running the Brain Lab in Berkeley. And of course, he's a scientist. He's writing about the limbic system. He's not a therapist. He's looking at the brain and how it functions. And he writes in this article, he says all behavior has its genesis in emotion. So there's an emotional component to all behavior. Okay, what does that tell you right there? All behavior is
Yes.
driven by the limbic system.
Yes.
And then he says all goal-directed intentional behavior comes from the limbic system. And
Wait a minute.
yeah,
All goal-oriented intentions come from the limbic system?
correct. That's what he said. That's what their research indicated. And then he says when the limbic system decides to carry out a goal, it goes to the cortex and says, "Will you help me?" And the cortex says, "Sure." And so what happens is the limbic system and vast areas of the cerebral cortex begin to synchronize to carry out the goal.
Oh my goodness.
And then he says something horrible. What he says is that these state changes happen at the rate of theta waves. Okay, you know what the frequency of a theta wave is? 6 times per second. So we have 6 chances a second we're going to be hijacked by the limbic system. We have no prayer. We have no chance. And they also proved that the perception is preconditioned. So we have this whole system that we're carrying around
Yeah.
either to run and get away and avoid, or to pursue and try to get acceptance and avoid rejection.
Yeah.
And the only tool we have is self-awareness. That's the only tool we have to survive this.
That science and what you just presented is some of the most powerful stuff I've ever heard. And I will make sure to have you write that out for me for our September couples workshop, because that is so powerful for people to understand why it's so hard to break out of this,
That's
why
right.
they talk the same argument, why the same complex just keep coming up again and again. And you
That's right.
really do love this person that
Right.
you're seeing, but that part, it's, oh my God, they're just being hijacked on all levels, all over.
Right. Right.
That's crazy.
And you know how difficult it is to convince people this stuff is going on
Yes.
inside of them.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But
It's true.
we're absolutely being completely hijacked by this on a moment by moment basis.
Wow. Well, that makes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense why it's like no amount of like willpower or reading the book,
Right.
is going to do the final change. Like that can shift, that can start giving us an opening, right?
Right.
But then that real work is to wake up. We've
Yes.
got to wake up from this program. I think,
Right.
again, that's why in ceremony, I love working with people. Obviously, we do groups, but also with the couples, because avoidance is almost never about the partner.
No.
It's this completely programmed portion of them that unconsciously they have used as a
Right.
survival technique.
That's right.
And in those hours or weekend with a couple or with people, they are allowed to set that part down, put down the ego on the shelf, and let's really connect and see who we are. And
Right.
even if it, for hours, you start to look at yourself, first of all, through the eyes of love. You start to see how beautiful and whole and amazing you are. But the same thing goes for the person across from me. You start seeing them with the eyes of love. And when we start to see people with the eyes of love, that's how, the universe sees us. That's how life sees us. And we really are able to temporarily set that program down
Uh-huh.
and be the I am of who we really are. That's
Right.
amazing. I love that.
Sure. So now, what should have or would have happened to someone in their childhood to make them a dismissive avoidant?
Mm. Well, because fear is going to be one of the main areas they react
Yeah.
from. I'm going to say they probably had some type of physical abuse, some type of neglect
Yeah.
from a caretaker, um, mainly someone that they didn't actually feel safe with.
Right.
They didn't feel safe in some way. So mostly I would say from the avoidance that I know that I've worked with and that I've
Hmm.
dated, it ties back to one of the parents that was
Right.
abused in some way, physically and or emotionally.
Yeah. So if you know that, it's pretty hard not to be compassionate toward this person.
Yes. Yes. That's really beautiful. That's it. Having compassion for and empathy for our partner.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I want to bring something else up because I got my
Sure.
eye on these comments that Shiraz is making, and there's two. The last two I'm just going to bring up because I want you to comment on them. This one here, we aren't real entities, and identities are entities. So what she has had an incredible awakening, and when you fully awaken, when you completely awaken, you realize none of this is real.
It's true.
Okay, so how do you? This is my question that I struggle with all the time because I got one foot in and one foot out. The fact that this is a dream, that consciousness
Mhm.
is up to some game here,
Yeah.
and that we are not real in that sense. How do
Yeah.
you how do you keep anchored in the work of helping people while knowing that when you get to the end of the journey of healing and help, you realize there was no reason for the journey to begin with? How do you struggle with that?
You have an existential crisis. Life is empty and meaningless. What's the purpose? There's nobody here but me.
Yeah. So let me tell you where I'm coming from
Yeah,
on
tell
this
me.
because welcome to Mastering Thought channel. This is a YouTube channel. It's completely exploded in the last 30 to 45 days. I mean,
Yay.
thousands and thousands and thousands of views. Okay, that's great. But if you look at if you if you look at the comments section, I get a lot of comments that we're not real and yada yada
Yeah.
yada, and my response is that's true and it helps nobody. You know, Siraj is saying I can tell you where the failure point is. Please do, and I'll put it on the screen. I'd like to know.
So you're saying, so how do you do both? Okay, so first of all, I 100% know what you're talking about, especially after plant medicine. And if you have any sort of big awakening and you really see the universe in this matrix that we're truly living in, you will at one point go through this of like, well, then what's the point of this relationship? What's the
Right,
point of my kids? What's the point of
right,
this? The point is that we're here for a reason. The purpose is love. Like that is truly the purpose of it all. And even though you may understand on some level, we are still identified in this human form. So to come to a conclusion that this is empty and meaningless is truly not understanding the vastness of infinite intelligence. There obviously is a reason that we're here if we're here. So in a very small way, if you were to say, if I were to make a concession, Yes, and yes, this is true in one respect, but there's a larger truth to this. There's a much larger truth. And the larger truth is right now in our finite forms of beings, we only understand a little bit of the infinite. And then we try to make all these assumptions. Well, the assumption is you're here and you're here for a reason. So continue to love, expand, experience, and be. And I believe that every person that comes to this plane of consciousness, to this earthly dimension, is here to learn and grow and expand in their awareness. So why not do it consciously?
Uh-huh. So here's the answer I'm getting back from Siraj, and I'll
That's it.
put these up because this is the very problem I'm talking about. Stay in silence. What's between real and not real? Go to the silence and stay there. No words. Okay, none of that
Okay.
is helpful. None of that helps anybody. Telling people to go to silence because you're not really here, then why don't we just sit and have a six pack of beer and watch football? What possibly are we supposed to do with that? I believe what this person is saying is absolutely correct, but we still are on a mission from consciousness.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. So there's a bigger truth. You can't, infinite is infinite, meaning that we will never truly understand it from this point of view as a human right now. So to try to take it all and to summarize it, it's not possible right now. Yes, I understand that this is a very small part of who we are, and that we are a much bigger consciousness and bigger awareness. But right now, in this timeline, your consciousness is aware of this character
Right.
at this time, at this place. So just what did Ram Dass say? Be here now, be in the role that you are in, and just do your best to participate, to be love, to be the universe, the consciousness is working through you. It
Uh-huh.
wants to expand through you, through your creative desires, through your creative talents, through your gifts, right? Just allow that to be. Don't worry about this. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. Like, it's not really, like you said, unfortunately, it's not really helpful. But I understand that when you're starting out, it is a process to work through.
So Mario says, "Thanks, Dr. Mark. I've been watching all your videos. God bless you. Share them." Um,
Uh,
I
thank
so
you.
here's my problem. Going back to this. Um,
Mm.
let's see. Every word is an illusion. I agree. So a couple comes to me. They're about ready to get the divorce. They're abusing their children. They're putting them through a 7:30 evaluation. Their life is horrible, and I'm going to look at them like Jim Newman, who's, this is his philosophy, and I'm just going to say every word is an illusion. Something's telling me consciousness wants me to do something different than that. So I need to resolve this paradox, and maybe Shiraz, before we're
Yes.
done today, you can help us resolve that in a
Yeah.
way that gives us some direction. I don't have any doubt that this person has absolutely experienced enlightenment, because this
Yes.
is what the enlightened people see when they wake up. It's an illusion. Okay. So it's like saying, I'm the author of the novel, but I'm
Hmm.
playing a character at the same time.
Yes.
Knowing I'm simply a character, what am I
Yes.
supposed to do? Give the author the finger and say, no, I'm not going to be the character anymore? You know,
Ah,
what are we supposed to do? If you have a question or comment, we love you. Please put it up here. We've got a few more minutes of the live stream. These discussions that we're having here, I think, we're expressing what a lot of people don't ever say in words,
I agree.
you know.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If you know these If you know these awakened teachers, I have no doubt that what Siraj is describing, Eckhart Tolle has experienced, Rupert Spira has experienced, Ramana Maharshi has experienced. We can go all the way down the list. So my question is, if they experienced that, why the hell did they write the book?
Oh,
What
that's a
was,
great question.
what was the purpose? Why are they doing a podcast? Give me a break.
Yeah.
Somebody explain this to me. Why is the first thing you want to do when you realize this is an illusion is to tell
Yeah.
everybody it's an illusion? Somebody explain that to
Exactly.
me because I'm not getting it. Now, in my case,
Exactly.
I, I don't mean to dominate this, Rochelle, but I came
Go
to the
for it. You're on a
conclusion,
roll.
okay, I came to the conclusion several years ago that life had no meaning.
Mm.
And I believe I'm absolutely correct. But then I discovered something beyond that. And that was that I was the meaning.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
decided to do this. And I started this channel because I was going to
Yes.
express meaning
Yes.
regardless of the truth of the fact. And this is what I'm going to do. So I'm
Yes.
experiencing the meaning that I'm giving my life.
Exactly. That's what it is. Life is empty, meaningless, and it only means what you make it mean,
That's,
what you want it to mean. And that's a beautiful way to put it, is
yeah,
to make it, to be the author, be the creator,
right.
get out there. Like, what do you want it to be? If you want to be empty and meaningless and go live in the, the remotest parts of the world and sit in a cave and meditate, go do it. If that truly is your desire, have
Right.
at it. But in no way is that the purpose of life itself, right? That's the purpose of you, how you want to express life. But everyone, as the creator, has a unique way to express their life for sure here while they're here.
Mario is saying, I believe you found the missing piece of the spiritual teachings that I could never discern, and you hammer the
Yeah,
point of moment mindfulness and don't get caught in the weeds of confusing talk. Thank you, Mario. You know, I've been
that's
beaten up
awesome.
quite a bit by just pointing out the fact that the voice in your head is not who you are. And if you teach people to use the voice in your head, that's a serious problem.
I love it. So simple, but so profound.
So I'm not sure
It's
what this question means from Vaedu. Awareness coming from books and podcasts or from real life experience and pain? I don't know if that's a question for me or you, Rochelle. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I think he was talking about when you said, why did these teachers write books then if they thought that that life was empty and meaningless,
Yeah,
right?
I think what they're writing in the books comes from their real experience of pain and what life is really all about.
Yeah.
But my point is that if we go to this and every word is an illusion, then what's the point in writing the book?
Yeah,
That's my
exactly.
question. Somebody please answer
Well,
that for me.
so to go to what you said, what like if life is empty, meaningless, and then you write it. Well, I think because it helps eliminate or alleviate suffering, right?
Uh-huh.
Because if we really do believe that we are our thoughts and that every word we say is from that is our us and not just this program, well, then we are going to suffer. Thoughts,
Uh-huh.
that's just what they are designed for. They will eventually make us suffer. So if we can actually separate and see that these are not true, that they're actually lies, then that will eliminate a lot of suffering.
Right. Okay, so Stevens is saying, I'm at the point right now where I see that life is meaningless. I totally get that. And then he says this, what's next? Go inside and ask what you want to do with what's next.
Yes. Yes.
Because if it's meaningless, you may as well have a good time. I'm having the time of
Exactly.
my life.
Exactly.
I'm com- I feel
Exactly.
I feel completely fulfilled in the first time in my meaningless life by doing this YouTube channel and trying to help people awaken to the fact that life is meaningless. Why am I doing that? I don't know. But deep down inside of me, there's this little still thing that keeps talking to me
Yes.
about what it wants me to express, and I keep doing it, and it feels really good when I do it. And so I'm not sure from inside of the novel where, I'm the hero in the novel,
Yeah.
I'm ever going to know the answer to this paradox. But Stevens,
Okay.
you got
So
something
good.
for us. Give it to us. We're waiting.
Okay, Mark, that was really good what you just said, because that is what I believe. I don't believe, no, truly, I do not believe. Okay, my personal experience has been everything that I have done in life, my marriages, my certain friendships, my current career life as a,
Hmm.
medicine person. I did not choose it. It chose me. It came to me. I have so many crazy stories of how these things just
Right.
presented themselves
That's
to
right.
me, and
That's right.
then the desire welled up in me that I didn't even know was there. And it's
Right.
almost now that I look back, and as I've had more maturation with some of these things, I'm like, wait a minute, did I choose that or did it choose me? Wait a minute, how did this happen? And it continues to open up. And when you start to really trust that you really are being lived by life, you said this on one of your presentations you gave to my group, group that we did on Zoom, and you just mentioned that you are here to serve the universal life force, not the other way around. Like it is, you are here to let it move through you and
Hmm.
expand through your, and these resistance of listening to your thoughts, these resistance are going to prevent you from fully being used by
Right.
universal
Right.
life. And I was like, wow, that was very well explained, because I really do feel that my desires, my career, my family, my friends, they were all given to me, and there was just these opportunities I had to resist or to say no. So I think that that's made a lot of sense in my life, or at least I should say.
So Stevens is saying, I feel like what happened today is just what happened. That's correct. I agree.
Yeah.
Like there's really is no meaning behind it. There's something behind it, but whether it's meaning that we can define in the way we define meaning, I don't know. But the way I
Yes.
view it is it's like consciousness is trying to play Beethoven's Fifth, and you're playing second fiddle, and you're not getting the chords right. And so, in
Mm,
order for consciousness to experience this amazing music,
yeah.
you've got to get the chords right. And you are not important, you're just an instrument. And if you can play the way you're supposed to play, consciousness is going to experience itself in a new and special way. And really, when you get down to it, there is no me doing anything. That's what Michelle, I
Yes.
think, was just saying. And that's fine. Okay, great. But I love the sound when I get
Yes.
it right. Makes me
And the thing
feel
is you don't have to know. As soon as you step into the known, that's when you limit everything. And
right,
I think that's what some of the comments are trying to say is, well, then what is this? And what is this? Well, now you're going back to the known.
right.
As soon as you go into the known, you've limited all those possibilities. I mean, science has, who's the smart guy, and Einstein. We're 99% energy and 0.0001% light. So in that, we at all times only have access to a very small amount of information that we're trying to glean from. So if we can open ourselves up to really this much larger realm, then we don't have to know everything. We can literally trust that things are being done on our behalf in our highest and best. Okay, what are those comments, Mark?
Pam, I'm so happy you're here. We have no clue the meaning, in my opinion. The mind can't know. I believe that's true.
Yes.
And you know what? If
Yeah.
you noticed, if you notice throughout the day, that sense of self of being who you are kind of comes and goes.
Yes.
And when it goes, there is no self doing anything, but something
Yes.
is happening.
Yes.
And
And it's because of that practice. Like if you do the moment mindfulness, if you literally remember, like as soon as like I'm thinking, oh, I got to do this, and I, again, not always, but when I catch myself, I'm like, wait, is that me? What is, no. And then immediately peace, a sense of just peace comes over me and all the thoughts disappear because as soon as I'm aware of the thought, it goes away. It just
there you
disappears.
go. So Siraj says, wait, you missed the most important point. We've got about 1 minute. If you can send us a comment, we'll put it up, and maybe next week, if you'll come back,
Yeah.
we'll continue the discussion. In the
Yeah, it seemed to
meantime,
be a good discussion, Mark. We got some good playback. We got some good interaction. Thank you guys for all putting your comments and questions. I mean, this is what we love to do. We
Seth,
can
Seth
feed off of
says, meaning or not, I'm deeply grateful when people like you explain your process for
it.
awakening. The universe is grateful because it wants us to
Yes,
awaken to the fact
yes,
that we're not who we think we are, and
exactly.
we're
Yes.
doing
Well,
everything we can.
so in this loop, the pulling away, going back to the lines in the unicorn and the patterns that never seem to end in our relationships right now.
Yes.
I just want to let people know for what we're doing and how we're helping people more on an individual basis in addition to the YouTube channel. If you're looking to take this someplace deeper, I do have a retreat. Me and my partner are doing September 18th and the 19th. And there is going to be a small, intimate ceremonial container where we do exactly some of the work that Mark and I are talking about. And we do it in real time. And it is a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to, like I said, fall in love with yourself again, fall in love with your partner, and to be really ever present. So if you'd like more information, we'll put it in the notes. It's heartopening.love, and that's September 18th, 19th. And Mark, how are you supporting people outside of the YouTube channel?
So as soon as we get off here at 1 o'clock Pacific time, I have a coaching appointment with somebody who wants to learn moment mindfulness. We're
Nice.
doing three things: one-on-one coaching. We have small groups that meet. We have two of them right now, Tuesday morning and Thursday morning at 9 a.m. We have people from all over the world in those groups, also
Wow.
discussing all these principles. It's limited to 5 people a group. And starting in August, so keep your eyes and ears peeled, we're going to have two large group sessions, Friday morning and Friday evening, once a month. And we'll be sending out information. If you want to know about that, make sure you're on one of our lists. There'll be links below to find out. We know that not everybody can afford individual counseling, so we're trying to make this accessible to everybody. Also, my new
Nice.
book, Free of the Mind, is out. It's an ebook. You can immediately download it and start reading it. I'm getting good feedback on it. And everything's in the description. Mario, thank you for the compliment, and we'll see
Yeah.
everybody next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.